Is Mexico now a winner here because they've resolved this issue, whereas Canada and China, as of now, are facing tariffs?
Yeah, I think the circumstances are different. You know, in these things, the technicalities are important, but the relationship is just as important. President Trump and President Sheinbaum have spoken in the past a couple of times before this morning, and there's been a good relationship. It's been cooperative. They both connected. So the fact that President Sheinbaum agreed to sending 10,000 troops to the border is a big concession. Military matters with the U.S. are very sensitive in Mexico. She used political capital to do that, but she made the decision. I think the relationship had a lot to do with it. Canada is a very different story. Prime Minister Joe has been combative. It's been a difficult relationship. My concern is that he has boxed himself into a corner to the point where if he shows willingness to cooperate, it'll look like he's backing down.
Right.
That's a problem.
And it's less clear, Dewardric, what the Canadians can do to quickly assuage. Do they send 10,000 troops to the border?
Yeah, I think Secretary Guterres is right here. The brilliance of this call with Sheinbaum first is that in some ways it does box in Canada. But remember, Kelly, there's still the Chinese side here, and there's this case at the WTO. So in theory, Canada could sign on to that WTO case. Now, again, Trump is going to ignore the WTO, but it does send a strong signal for China and perhaps Canada if they sign on to the European Union, who loves following trade rules, who understand that what we're looking for are rational actors. And so you can still play the rational actor game in this process. But I do think that the Sheinbaum call really put Canada in a bind here early in this process. But this is the long game, Kelly, and countries are going to have to play chess in order to win this one.
They will. Dewardric, I'm going to go back to you because we're showing our viewers, and if you're listening on your car, I'm sorry, you can't see anything. But the Dow is now positive. It's positive by 0.01%, basically one point, but it is positive. So the market either, Dewardric, is blowing off the news, or it believes these tariffs, maybe the China tariffs, by the way, layering on top of tariffs President Biden put on 9 months ago. I should point that out, that these tariffs are short-lived. What is your take on the markets?
Yeah, I've been very shocked by this. I saw the study that Steve released from our network here. And what they're not talking about is how long will the threat of tariffs last? So these may be short-term tariff events, but the threat, when you look at pattern recognition, we're going to live with these threats of tariffs for the rest of the Trump administration. And at some point, you run out of deal space, Brian. So, it may not be today, but I do think markets should take this more seriously than they're taking it. With respect to China, this was never the big one. China is waiting for the America First trade policy tariffs that may come into effect after April 1st. So I think the Chinese, going back to pattern recognition here, are going to keep their powder dry. They know April 1st, there may be something bigger coming down the pipe.